Hi, this is Pia Knudsen from UFO Denmark, and on behalf of UFO Denmark, we would like to welcome Ann-Kristin Normann from Norway, and she has had some really interesting experiences that she's going to share with us today. So let's get started. Welcome, Ann.
Hi, Pia. Thank you so much. Really excited. I guess I'll start with when I was a kid. My parents told me that I used to talk to people that were not there, especially in the walls. I know it sounds strange, but I can still hear those sounds. When I was 5, we moved from Sweden to Norway. And that's when I remember my first meeting with these angels or light beings, or as I know today, was the aliens or the space brothers or what we should call them. They came to me one night, woke me up, took me to the closet, and told me, "Look in here, you'll never miss anything. We are here to protect you." And I woke up in the morning, told my parents. They've really been open-minded and helpful, so they're excellent parents. I took my mother to the closet, and the strange thing was we always closed the closet, but this morning the closet were open, and I told my mom what had happened, and she said, "Oh, it's the angels watching over you." That's my first memory. The next is around at the age of 7, I started to sleepwalk a lot. And my parents had the kitchen on the 2nd floor, and the bedrooms were in the 1st floor. So if I rang the doorbell, my mom always came up in the window to ask if there was something wrong or if I needed something. And I remember watching. It was in the evening, dark outside, and I was watching towards the border of Sweden. We live close to the borders, and I saw this strange light. It was red, white, and green, and it flicked. It was red, it was white, it was green, and I was really fascinated. It moved quite slowly, and I ran towards the stairs to ring the doorbell to show my parents. But what I remember is that I must have tripped. That's what I thought, because I woke up with my face on the ground and I had a lot of blood in my nose. Not a lot, but I was bleeding. I had nosebleed. And 2 days later, this must have been in the weekend. 2 days later, my father said, he was reading the newspaper, and he said, "You know what? The thing you said you saw in the skies, they think it is a UFO because lots of people have seen it, and it moved towards Sweden." So I really remember that. It was a really vivid memory. And after that, I had a lot more sleepwalking. There has been a lot of strange stuff going on after that, but I will jump to 1993 when I used to work as a security guard, a dog handler, and so much strange stuff going on when I went to work. I used to walk alone in the dark with my dog, and sounds, yeah, strange sounds like I've always had kind of ghosts around or paranormal activity. And one morning we saw some black stuff on the wall, it went through the wall and came out on the other side inside the cupboard, cabinet in the kitchen. And we had a small veranda. I had a little shop as well, and I had a mug of water on the veranda, and I never told anyone about this, but in the daylight there is a small gray standing on the edge of the veranda, and he trips the water over and disappears like that. And also at that time we had some strange communication on the telephone. I have no idea who we were talking to. This was a year that was totally crazy. I'm not going into it because it's no one will believe it anyway. But there was a lot of paranormal activity at that time, and I got a message that there was a crystal ball. This is really important because the last year this crystal ball has arrived. I was told there was a crystal ball for me that I had to use, like a crystal ball, light ball, something. But I had to wait. I will jump a few years ahead again because it's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes. 1 year later, I moved back to where my parents live, where I saw this UFO the first time. I got a farm, going to renovate it, and in the middle of the night, me and my boyfriend was driving up the road. It was 1 o'clock in the night, I think, and suddenly I know we were alone. Suddenly I saw like a huge trailer, like a huge van or something, just flashed its light behind the car. And it was so bright. These lights were really bright, and they were super close. And like this, just whoops, took off over the car and disappeared. This must have opened for something because I started to have a mental contact with the gray. When I closed my eyes, I could almost see his face staring at me. And you really helped me with it's so strange. But if I was super busy, I had a time limit to keep, I could ask him to stretch the time just a little bit, so I had an hour extra. But I also had a lot of missing time at that point. And I remember he told me, you have no idea how much you guys are destroying this planet. I work every night fixing oil pipes. I didn't know there. I thought the I can't remember the word, where they pull all the oil up from oil wells out in the North Sea. I thought they used tank ships to collect the oil, but I learned something new. He said there are pipelines under the ground on the sea bottom, and we have to repair these over and over and over again to stop it from leaking. And this guy was quite nice, actually. And yeah, there was paranormal activity there at the same time. I saw small beings and not aliens, but small beings. I don't know what they were. But I'll jump a few years later on because it stopped for a while. It's like I've had this contact off and on for many years, and I always have this feeling that someone is watching out for me because everything works out every time. So I'll go to the wildest period of this with the UFOs. That started in 96, 97, 98. I'm not sure. I had worked in Oslo. I moved back to where my parents live again, and I don't remember what it started out with, but it was, I got really sick, really sick. My liver was starting to fail, and there is so much strain in my body. I have super low temperature. It's like 36.3. That's normal for me, and I had so little blood that hospital don't. Yeah, I were in there. There's a number. I'm not sure how much. I was at the hospital now. It was around 10, but I had like 6 then, and I had down to 5, 3, still walking, and they wanted to give me a blood infusion. But every time they tried to do something with my body, someone kind of stops them. It's like when they look at the screen at the hospital, they get another doctor, that other doctor comes in and they just stop. So I have no idea what it is. It's weird. But I'll go back to what happened at that time. I got really sick and I had to go to the hospital. I stayed there for a week, and when I came back, my friends wanted to throw me a party, and I lived on the second floor of a building in the city, and there was a huge parking lot outside. We were the third floor was empty, so we decided, let's use it for a party. We were upstairs discussing the space when I said, I have to get down and get some air. I'm really hot and I need a glass of water. So I went out on the porch at the second floor, and when I came back, I went in directly into the flat at the second floor to get water, and I were met with friends I did not know actually were there. They were not there when I went out, and they could not have got in there either because they had to pass me on the stairs. So I just wondered, okay. And a friend of mine started to, where have you been? And we've been so scared for you. And we were just about to go to the police and call your parents because we thought you might have walked off and died. You're too sick to be out and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't understand anything. And they said, why did you lock the door on us? Why did you lock us in on the third floor? No, I didn't lock you guys in. Yes, you did, and you've been gone for 3.5 hours. This was in the time where we had these house parties and all these cool clothes, low cut pants and crop tops. And my friend just pointed at my belly and he said, oh my God, your liver has erupted or something. I said, what? And I looked down and I was black and blue all over my stomach. And I took my top off, still with my bra on, took my top off, and I had a scar from my ear down here across my chest, down to the solar plexus area, a little bit down, not as far as to the navel. And under each breast, it was like a cross, and it had like staples on the side, like staple marks, like on one side. And I was black and blue. I was like I was bruised, but it looked like someone had opened me up. And a friend of mine who was very much into UFOs, he said, "Oh my God, you've been abducted." that's an UFO thing, he said. And okay, I know UFOs exist. I've had contact with them, but I haven't. This was quite strange. So I went to the doctor 2 days later, and he said, we have to take your blood samples, and you must have done this to yourself. And okay, I don't have any history of self-harm, and I'm a happy person, so why should I do that? I don't need any attention. Yeah. But they took blood tests, and they said, your liver, the numbers of the liver was, when you went into the hospital, it was 4,998 or 95 something. It should be between 18 and 30. 2,000 is liver failure. I had almost 5,000. They said you'll never get under 500-600. Now I had the liver of a 14-15-year-old girl. No one understands anything. And some days went on, and this UFO friend slept on the couch. I slept on the floor in the living room because I was making music and I worked as a DJ at that time. So I used the bedroom as a studio. And it was me, Thomas, and my dog. And I had a couple of neighbors who were Muslim, very nice people. I didn't know they believed in UFOs, but I'll get to that. I went into the bathroom to brush my teeth, and I fell with my toothbrush like that. I just fell like this towards the sink, and I thought, what's going on? It's like I'm really drowsy, and feel like I'm trying to sleep standing up. I just went into the living room, went on my mattress with my dog, and something just told me, you have to watch. Go to the window and look to the sky. I did, and I saw this bright light. And I was watching, and I thought, is this a star or is this something else? Suddenly I could see like electric, like lightning, but they were, this is so hard to explain. It's like lightning, but it was pushed downwards into the ground, like some electric field or something. And I could see like old Indian, like Native American symbols or stuff on the ground, on the concrete outside. Sorry, the asphalt on the parking lot. So strange. And I saw this light coming a little bit closer. So I tapped my friend's back and said, Thomas, you have to see this. And I could not get Thomas to wake up. So I started to push him. No, he wouldn't wake up. And even my dog, I couldn't wake the dog up. So I started to panic, and I said, you guys, you have to let Thomas and the dog wake up because I'm panicking here. Like this, they woke up, and I told Thomas, you have to see this. And we started to communicate mentally with this light ball. And it went like 8. We could ask it to go 8 and in circles. And after a little while, it came closer and closer and closer. And it came over the house. And I said to Thomas, no, they're here. We have to get out and meet them. So we went on the porch on the other side of the house. And we could see this huge light coming. And from that light, they sent out 2 smaller lights. And I said, that's the pick up UFOs or whatever. And I remember I said, but hey, we are 3. The dog is here as well. And like, boop, it came a 3rd light out. Came over us, then I started to panic, and I really regret it. I wish I could stay awake. We went in. I lay down on my mattress, Thomas on the sofa, and I took the dog with me. And I said, I think this is okay. Let them take us, but I don't think I should be awake for this experience. And he was exactly the same. And we could feel these impulses, and it was shaking, and my body was super electric. And next thing, I woke up, and it was morning. I heard banging on the door. It was my neighbor. He asked me, Anne, you're into this occult stuff. Can you please tell me, was my son abducted by a UFO last night? Because he had fallen asleep on the bathroom floor with his toothbrush in his hand, and he has told his father he was abducted by a UFO with us. And at that time, we started to see strange cars. Thomas called them men in black. I don't know. I guess maybe. Suddenly, two crew-cut Americans moved in an apartment on the top of my apartment, and were very eager to talk with me. And I'm very outgoing, so I told them everything. And and we also had these black helicopters over the house that time. And they just appeared, stayed there for a while. They said they were Mormon students that were going to stay there, but today I know that they have to have been some military guys. They were super eager to know what happened. They used to stop me, like they were watching, trying to get when I went out of the apartment to stop me, to ask me about stuff. They never talked about God, never talked about Jesus or Mormons or nothing. And I met Mormons before, and they'll try to talk about their faith. So that was no Mormons. One day they were just gone, and there were never any. I couldn't find any signs that someone had actually lived there. So that was really strange. And one evening I went up to the large veranda we had there, and I saw something. I felt I had to go out there, or something was calling me. And I see this guy materialize. And that was strange, because he was shifting from being like a small Chinese wise man, like, yeah, in the movies, yeah, to be like a more a gray. And every time I just pulled a little bit back and thought, oh, you look scary. He shifted into this Chinese wise man outfit thing again. And he said, he took his hand and hold this crystal ball towards me, and he said, here it is. I'm here to deliver this. It's for you to keep. And he gave me a warning about something really that could have messed up my life. And there was also one more thing. I don't remember what that was. But that thing that could have messed up my life, I checked that the next day, and could actually stop it from. I could prevent it from happening. I confronted the two persons that it was all about, and I stopped something huge from happening to me. So yeah, and there was lots of lights and lots of stuff going on. It's been so much, and I'm trying to, yeah, I'm not going off in every direction here to talk about all these crazy things, but I'll try to go to when I moved here if I remember anything back, I'll just go back. Okay. I moved here in 2011 or 11 years ago, and I started to see all these strange lights in the sky here. And one evening was outside. I saw one light-shaped UFO that came over the hills, and I saw another one, and I saw a military F-16 or something like that. This was in the dark, but I could see it was a military plane hunting this light bulb. And suddenly I could see one more light bulb, and they were teasing this military plane, and suddenly there was one more of this F-16 or whatever. So there were two jets and three light bulbs chasing each other. They're straight over where we live. And I think that's when it started here. We were camping by the lake. We have a lake at the property. We were camping by the lake, and we were UFO watching. And after a while, we saw this light that looked like a satellite. But we tried to concentrate, and it just came towards us in insane speed. Then me and Terje started to argue, of course, and it just flashed up and took off. Of course, it didn't want to talk to us when we were not agreeing about stuff. So, but when we went back that morning, a light ball followed us and came behind the large tree on the here at the farm, and with a little blink, and it took off. 10 minutes later, we saw 7 black military helicopters. I've never seen anything that insane in my life. Over the fjord here, Pia, I've seen this, and Gary Heseltine have been here and seen this, and some other UFO researchers, experiencers as well. There is a place where we always see stuff. And there were 7 helicopters coming towards the farm to the right. And well, they just took off and nothing else happened. But after a little while, I was about to take a picture of myself. I think we have this viewing. I think we could watch that later, and I can point to which episode it is, because I didn't have a lot of stuff has been happening, so I haven't had much time to collect all the pictures. But I think we should watch them later, and then I can pinpoint it to where in my story it is. I was about to take some pictures. I think this was in 2011. I was about to take some pictures of myself on Facebook, yeah, and I took one, and the blitz went off. So I took another one, and all I could see was like golden streaks. So I took a third one, and something must have jumped in between me and the camera, because I could see something like a reptilian-like, maybe something with a black hoodie and big black large eyes. And when I saw that, I freaked out, of course. It was the top of the head. It was like it was 3D, because I could see the top of the head of this, like this gray. And now I remember I have to go back, but because it has happened a lot of other stuff as well, right before I moved here. But I freaked out contacted a friend in the US called James Rink. He was on Facebook at that time, and I said, James, look at this. And he said, get out of the house. You have to get out now. Where should I go? It's in the middle of the mountains, and it was dark outside, and I was really scared. That creature really scared me. And especially that you can't see them. And I just held the camera in front of my face to take a selfie, and there's some other beings there. I just freaked out. So I went upstairs. We had a small TV there. That was the last day we had the television set in our house. Because I turned the TV on. These are the old TVs with this thick glass, you know. And turned the TV on and bent over the TV to turn the lamp on that was behind the TV, because I thought, oh, do something, go upstairs, watch something on the TV, just get your mind off this. Because Terry was not here, he was in the Netherlands, I think, at that time. And the second I bent over to put the light on, I saw the television set. I could see the news on front, but it's like there's a double glass on these old TVs, and I could see something like hieroglyphs or something that looked like they were downloaded on the screen. It was like, you know, the text at the end of a movie. It was black and white, and there were some symbols. I have no idea what it was. So I just pulled back and thought, really? No. And I saw the news again, leaning over, and I saw these hieroglyphs coming again. So I just pulled out the cord, and I never put it back again. That TV went out of the house as soon as Terry came back. More black helicopters started to appear, and I was on the field raking some grass, and a black helicopter hovered over me. They opened like it was a side door. There was a guy in a black uniform, and he had like a box or something, like a square box with some strange light coming out of it. And I just waved and said hello. And I don't want to see that. I don't want them to think that they can scare me, because I'll just be nice anyway. Yeah. So it was like some light that was shining on me, or like it couldn't be a normal camera. It was a big black box with some flashing lights coming from it. And when I waved, they just took off. And one night we had Terry's son was here, and it was suddenly we had this extreme fog. Extreme fog. I could not see the barn, and it's like 20 meters from the house. I could not see the barn. And suddenly I hear this boop, 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 boop sound. It sounded like a helicopter, but that helicopter must have been on top of our house, because the whole house started to shake. And stuff was jumping from the shelves, and I just run into the kitchen. We have these glass containers with food, and I just tried to push them back. The strange thing about this is I don't remember anything after this. I don't remember much. I remember this, but it's all foggy in the brain, not just outside. But it's like I had the feeling something had happened, but I don't know why. No, I don't know what has happened. And yeah, all these episodes. And these light ships kept coming. We saw those very often. And one night, again, Terje was not at home. I was sleeping on the sofa with the dogs. And I heard a knocking on the wall. And this house is so haunted. It's sick. Yeah, it's really haunted here. And I heard a knock on the wall, and I said, "Shut up. I'm trying to sleep." And I just pulled the cover over my head, and I said, "Not now, when Terry is gone. You're not allowed to have any UFOs or anything here when I'm not, when he is not at home." And I just felt something was outside of the window. I just knew there's a ship outside of the window, and I just had to pull the cover back and turn around and look. And in the middle of the living room was this very good-looking man. I remember thinking, wow, he looks like a Swedish actor. And he had this more like natural, like hemp clothes, like just a simple shirt, jacket, and a pair of trousers, no jumpsuits. He had blonde hair to here, and he said, "What you are fearing is not going to happen because," sorry, he said, "Ann-Kristin, we have just had a meeting, and what you are fearing is not going to happen." And then he smiled, and it was a huge flash in the room, and he was gone. And I thought, oh, I must have had a brain injury or something here. And I looked at the light to see if something was wrong with my brain. Nothing was wrong with my brain except that my eyes were totally red, like they'd been burned, and my face were sunburned, totally sunburned. I was really red, and I now understand why that happened, because if I wasn't red and my eyes weren't burned, I would never believe this, because I would have thought, no, it's not happening, because it's so, sometimes it's been so much. You have to try to cope with it, but you try to find natural explanations, and with all this haunting stuff going on, you try to find a natural explanation. But the thing was, 2 weeks before this happened, I started to get really nervous. I'd read some papers about some agenda of killing all of us, and some Norwegian politicians been involved with this, and some whistleblower from the politician in Norway, a whistleblower, had come forward and said this is going to happen. So I was starting to think about this, and being alone at the farm with all these strange entities, it's starting to get to me. And I started to lose my sleep, and yeah. So after this guy had been in our living room, everything changed. Everything changed. I was so positive. I don't bother about this stuff anymore, because I'm sure they're gonna stop it. So again, they're there to watch me. And I'm not sure what happened first and second, because there's been so many things, but I react badly to gold. I don't wear any jewelry, but only my ring and a small silver bracelet, because I react to gold. It starts to bleed on me. I get all black, especially if there's a UFO close or a person who has contact with UFOs. My finger is black of the gold. And I started to notice this, and I was sitting in the window talking to Terje, who was outside, and I said, "Terje, do you know that this ring starts to bleed the contact? I've started to notice this." And he said, "Okay, that's cool," and yeah. And he went to work. He went to the city later on that night, and was going to stay there with his father. So I was alone again, of course. And in the middle of the night, I wake up in a gown, like a hospital gown, and it's like I was awake. It was like an abandoned airport kind of thing, like I remember the old airport in Trøndelag, where I come from. It's not that one because it's been rebuilt and it doesn't exist anymore. But this could look like a small airport that's been abandoned somewhere. I don't know where, but I'll sure recognize it if I get there again. I'll recognize the place at once. I remember walking to that. It was a corridor with a small. It's been a kiosk or something to the left, and there was a hallway like this, and there was a hangar, like a whole wall you can move, and in there was some hangars with some planes. I guess at least there was a hangar, and there was a woman standing there with a kiosk where with a uniform. She had a skirt on and stuff, and she didn't even look at me. And I was walking half naked, only this gown on, and I remember there was 2 bubble gum dispensers. One were broken, I guess, there were no bubble gums in it, but the other one had some bubble gums. And I thought, I'm so thirsty. I have this chemical, strange taste in my mouth. I'll try to get one of those. And I walked towards this bubble gum dispenser, and the whole wall moves. And out comes a guy in a uniform, like a flight uniform, and he smiles to me. He just smiles, and I'm smiling back, and then I see his face like kind of change a little bit. The last thing I remember is seeing the ceiling of the hangar. It's like honeycomb, like yeah, with the bees, yeah. And I wake up in the living room, and I were full of bruises. You could see these marks of hands grabbing me, my thighs, and I don't want to think about what has happened. But it's like every time I had contact with my friends, let's call them my friends. I hope they're my friends. Every time I've had contact, something military shit turns up. It's like, oh, she's been abducted. Oh, we have to take some tests to see what they've done. That's how I feel. That's how it feels. And also when I went back to Trøndelag to visit my mother, I was on the porch in the evening. I have some pictures of that here, and I saw one light bulb and another light bulb. They started to play. There was another one. There was another one. I think there were 7 at the end. I managed to salvage 3 of the pictures that I took. And I remember calling my mom and said, "Mom, you have to come and see this." And she said, "Oh, I'm so busy watching the news." So she couldn't see the UFOs. The thing is, I think my mother has had a lot of these experiences as well, because I think this runs in our family. We both have the same ability to see stuff, because I can see stuff. I don't know if she has the same eyesight as me. I'll talk to you about that as well. But she has told me so many strange things. I'm not going to talk about that here because it's my mother. She's 81, and the rest of my family don't like me discussing this. So, but my father also was a very intelligent man, and extremely intelligent. And he was very open-minded as well towards this. He used to invent stuff that was not for the environment, and very nice man, very nice man. But I know this runs in the family. So but I can't. Now I'm watching the news. That's so typical her. But I'll go back. What was that? Yeah. that's when I met Terje. I used to have these, I've done so much stuff. I used to have these alternative fairs or exhibitions. And one night I had friends sleeping, loads of the people that were attending this could sleep over at my place for free. We slept everywhere. And every person that night had, on the night of, from Friday to Saturday, everyone has felt the same as Pia has felt when she was here, that there's an electric vibration. It's like you're vibrating. It's like it's like you're on a transformation. No.
Yeah.
You know that, Pia?
Yeah, I'm just going to come in here because we came back from the conference in Bergen, and we were really tired, and Gary Hesseltine was fixing his night vision equipment. And all of a sudden he says, what's that? And this is down in the very dark part of the fjord where there's no people living and no roads or anything. And then we, all three of us, saw this quite large glowing object orb down there, and it all of a sudden turned off just at once, but we, all three of us, had seen it. And then Gary Hesseltine went outside, and then me and you were sitting, and we were really tired after the conference, and we were just sitting at the table, and all of a sudden we looked at each other, and said, are you shaking also? And I said, yes, I'm shaking. We had gotten this vibration through our bodies, both of us, at the exact same time. It was kind of like we just looked at each other and said, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I've had this one, normally when I lay down, this is the only time I've had it sitting up. So, but we had it at the same time, and we've had some of the same experiences, but it is a very strange place you live. Now I'll let you get on with it.
Yeah, yeah. This vibration is actually the same as I felt when I were, me and Thomas and the dog were taken. That's the same vibration. I remember that now. But we woke up, everyone had felt this vibration, and one guy said, you guys, we must have been abducted tonight, because they took some samples of me, and this is just, woo. And one guy was so scared, he just panicked, and he asked to sleep downstairs in my shop. And I said, that's okay. And he started to drag plants around. He started to ground himself. He was a shaman or something. So he used crystals and a bowl of water, and he took my plants, like to have dirt or earth. And he was making a circle with some ropes around his bed, and he just panicked. He was a broken man after he left from that place. And I'm really sorry for him, because he got in some real trouble after that. So with his nerves and stuff. So that's just sad. One night I tried to contact them and ask for them to come. And one night I was laying in my bed, and I said, oh, I've tried now for 6 days, 6 nights, I'm not getting any contact. I'm just giving up. And suddenly I could see a light coming into the window. It was super bright, super bright, because I had one of these IKEA dividers to divide the room, and I remember it came through the window and through this divider. And hi Tarja, Tarja is here as well, sorry. And suddenly I saw 3 beings at my bed, at the end of my bed. And I remember saying, oh no, it was not you that should come, it was the others. And I remember it was like they were trying to erase my memory. So it was like a record played backwards, like whoop. But I know I saw them, and when I opened my eyes again, they had shape-shifted into a blonde woman in like a frock, like what doctors use, and two other men in the background. And I just said, oh, you're not going to trick me this time. And the last thing I remember, they kind of pulled me through my crown and through the wall. And that's the last thing I remember out of that. But yeah. And I've also had this cloaked guy that followed me for many years. A black cloak, and the guy who turned up in the living room also had this, not the blonde one, but the one who jumped in front of me with the camera. He also has a black cloak. So it's like this guy has been watching me for years. So it's really strange. Then other things.
Yeah, but it is, as soon as you get on your property, you and Terry's farm,
Yeah.
you just get this very strange vibe. Gary Heseltine said it, I said it, and I've been there a few times now, and each time I'm there, I get this creepy kind of a odd vibe there, and something is always kind of happening there. So there is something for sure going on there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you about all this portal stuff.
You have told me, but you can share it with the others.
Yeah. I have seen twice, like a tunnel was opened just for a sec, like that. I'm walking through the forest, and I see like a glowing tunnel, like a small train tunnel, and it just closes. And at the same spot, when my Inca, the German Shepherd, was a puppy, this was in the winter of 2012, 2013. I were walking the dog, and I saw something strange crossing the road on the farm. It's a huge property, and this was quite close to where I saw that portal. The portal I saw later on, so I didn't know about this. But I saw something big crossing the road, and I thought, what was that? It couldn't have been a deer or anything. It didn't look like that. So I continued, but something told me to grab the dog. Terje, kan du ta Levo? Sorry, the dog just jumped the door. Sorry. Sorry. And I took the dog, lifted her up, and I walked a little bit closer to the farm, and something said, no, go to the right and see what this is. And on the field, there was something big, like a wolf or something, a large black wolf. That's the only thing I can think of, a sitting wolf. And I walked towards it, and it had this eyes, like some strange eyes. And Terje had also seen some red glowing eyes not far from that earlier. And I walked towards this animal thing, and I was like 15 meters away from it, and it just stared at me. And something told me just to back off, keep the door closed, and don't run. So I just backed up slowly and walked away. And when I thought I was safe, I just ran as hell and told Terje, you have to come and see. There's huge monster animal, something on the field. And he went out with me with a flashlight, and there was this huge paw prints, and that actually fits with what our neighbor has told. He has seen a huge black wolf crossing the road. And also hunters have seen something that looks like a black panther or something. So there, and we have also seen some strange creatures in the air. If I say it looked like a big dragon and a small one, I sound like I'm poo-poo, but that's what we saw. So there is some portal stuff going on.
Yeah, but you've also seen these glowing UFO orbs fly into the mountain behind the mountain in front of you. And 2 years ago, I was up in Norway, and Ann, this was in February, I think, and Ann said, the lake is frozen. We have to go see where it is, these UFOs, they fly into the mountain. And you can't get there unless the lake is frozen. But the lake was frozen, so we took the dogs and Teddy, and then we went down the part of a place you wouldn't come unless the lake was frozen. And we went down there, and when we looked up, there was this great big hole in the mountain where Anne had seen all these orb UFO things fly into the mountain. So, and this is close to the place with the portal also. So,
exactly, because we were watching, I remember at the same time we went to the place where I saw the portal.
Yes, we did. And the interesting thing is you saw the portal in the daytime. It wasn't a nighttime vision, the first one. Yeah, it was the daytime sighting. So that's even more strange. I mean, so yeah, lots of strange things going on, and also the ghost beings you saw, or the ghosts you saw in the barn.
I saw one yesterday.
Ah, wow,
a man standing. I screamed. I saw one behind the door because I went back and forth because of the horse, and I said to Terry when we went in, there's a man standing there. I was really pissed off because they scare. It's not cool because, as you said, the vibe is really strange, and
it's a very, very odd place. That's all I can say. I don't think I would be there alone. I don't even like going down to the basement to the bathroom alone.
No, no. I've actually never seen anything down there, but there's a lot of stuff there. I've took some pictures. I'll show what happens when you take pictures in here. And also there can be hundreds of orbs. If you call them, there'll be hundreds of orbs. And if you grab a flashlight here, it's going to start to communicate with you. Now, actually, they do.
Do you want to start your slideshow, or?
Yeah, we could do that because I can't remember anything more right now. There's a lot of stuff. Something happened with the black helicopters. They haven't been here for a while. They stopped, but they sent some drone thing before drones were normal, or at least this. I thought it was a small helicopter, a blue helicopter, so I took pictures of it, but it didn't show on the pictures. But when I took pictures of the tree at the farm where the small helicopter or drone was flew behind, then we could see it. But if we tried to take a picture of it directly, it didn't show on the pictures. So I think that's the way they monitor stuff now. And also I have this detection box, and it gives signals the whole time. It's like they monitor the place in a totally different way right now. They don't have to stay around. But of course, I've seen people on the edge of the mountain. The sun catches their watches and stuff. because there's a couple of places where you can have full access to the to the farm. So, and I see there's been a lot of footsteps and stuff. I just went up there and put up a sign, stop watching.
But you,
and it's gone now.
You've had a lot of computer problems and telephone problems, and I know other people in this small group we're in now have also had some experiences in the same way. But you guys have had a lot of problems with your computers and your telephones and electronics. Yeah.
Yeah, Tadja was working on the presentation, and I saw this blue, tiny orb went straight into his computer and crashed it. So I don't know what that is, if it's some technology or whatever they use. I have no idea. So but it's really strange. And if I'm stressed, if I run up the stairs, turn the lights on, they just. And if I'm angry, I'm starting popping lights as well. So I don't know what it is. I think they've done something because I can put magnets on my face and on my eyes and my nose and my heart and everything. And
do you remember we did that together? We did that together, put the magnets on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like Kate did in Norway. Yeah. You and I did it last time I was up there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really strange. So and you can get some signals. You remember I had this thing. If you put it on the table and you moved your head towards it, it made these strange sounds. Like there's some radio.
Yeah, but wasn't that electromagnetic something? The readings we could do with that machine? Because we tried that also last time, yeah.
Yeah, it's really strange. But there's one other thing I said about. I'll finish with this crystal ball, because last year I've always wondered, where is this crystal ball? Where is this ball of light that is mine? But last year something like tapped me on the head, and I went like this, and I could feel there was something hanging over my head. And that's right, because very often when I walk from the farm to the old farmhouse, I can see a bright light over my head. I turn my head and it's gone, but it's a bright light over my head, and I actually think that's been the crystal ball or this light, this orb the whole time, because I had this telepathic message. Now you finally found it. It's been with you the whole time. So it's over here. I can feel it. I have taken it off. I used it on Terje. I've used it for healing. I used it on my mother. And you can actually feel it. You can't see it, but it gives some electric, And if I put my hand in it and just wiggle my fingers, I can feel it all the way through my spine, my head, everywhere. So there, finally, I got my crystal ball. And I also remember as a kid, I had the evil eye and the nice eye, I used to call it, because one eye had green colors, I could see green colors, and the other eye I had more reddish colors. But I have discovered now that must be some kind of a 3D eyesight, because sometimes when I read, I can see text behind or symbols behind the text glowing. So and I sometimes also I can see into magazines and stuff. I can see into the pictures. It's so strange, but I've had that all my life. I didn't know it was some kind of superpower or something strange. I have to call it that because it's so freaky. It's really freaky. And I just remember one story with my parents are in, when you're a kid, you try to compare stuff, and I didn't know about these gray aliens. at that time. And we were driving. I think we were in Sweden on a holiday, and it was these birch trees, large birch trees with no leaves on. It's all up in the top. And I remember it's like I used to sleep in the back seat. I used to be really car sick in the back seat, and I remember like bits and pieces of my mother screaming my father's name and something chasing our car, and that was a huge skeleton. I know now. I know that now that it was some gray alien thing. Not this small one, but a larger one. And they were following the car. That's just some pieces I remember as a kid, but it's really stuck in me. So, but that's all I'm gonna say about my parents and UFOs, I think. But I've talked to my mother about this, but she don't remember it, so I guess, yeah.
Perhaps, Anne, you want to start some of the slides?
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, and then
I'm sorry
afterwards we
for
can ask some questions. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Please.
sorry for jumping so much, but one thing leads to another, and I remember, and I remember, and I remember.
No. No apology. It's most interesting. So
Okay.
and we'll come with some questions at the end. So okay.
Yeah. This is from the veranda, where my mother was watching the news. This one, the one in the middle, the reason for that being a little bit lighter is because I tried to zoom in on it on a different. So the first one has a different color, but these light balls were playing around. My mother's neighbor actually. Every time you open the veranda door, she always popped out, you know. So she couldn't miss it, and we were talking about it, and she was watching it together with me. It lasted for 20 minutes, I guess. I looked and looked and looked, and I can't find more than these 3 pictures. It was an old camera, and it's been downloaded and uploaded and downloaded and uploaded, so it's not very good quality. So that's from that. So you could just take the next. I'm sorry I haven't prepared too many pictures. I've tried to enter the other computer, but not a lot is happening there. This is what happens when I take pictures of myself. I guess the light to the left must be this light thing over my head. These 3 pictures are taken at one picture. The one picture is normal, and one picture starts to act up. So I have loads of these. And the other pictures are stuff coming from the ceiling. It's like some energy beams coming from the ceiling down on that bed. That's in the old farmhouse, and these rods flying around. Lots and lots of those. And I've also seen something that looks like a dog man, like a human body, but with a dog face in some kind of blue light. Very strange, very strange. You could just take the next, please. These are some of the scars that. Sorry for the winter fur on the left of the leg, on my leg up there. This stuff happens while I'm awake. It burnt marks, deep, like burned, scars. And that strange thing with that 5 dots, it's a small dot in the middle as well. It just appeared on my body when I was reading. So, and that picture of my eye, I sometimes feel like my eye works like a camera or something. It's making this clicking sound, and people have said my eyes are shifting in different shapes. So why, I don't know. but I feel there's something behind my right eye. I'm sure there's something behind my right eye, but it's like my eyes start flashing or something, and I hear this clicking sound. I say my eyes are clicking again. I don't have another word for it, but there's some say I've had like slit or big black eyes sometimes. I don't know. Next, please. Yeah, this is what happens. I get this overshadowing stuff going on, and I took the numbers of the pictures to see it happens. I take a picture, another one. Something overshadows me. There are other beings, and I don't know what's going on. But to the left at the bottom, that is me with a big black eye. That's how I saw myself when I did the regression with, oh my goodness, Mary Rodwell. That's exactly how I looked when I took my regression. So, and that's the picture of me actually. And the next one is that it just lights and flashes and everything just happens. I don't know what it is. So I know this was very much about me, but it has affected me so much, and it has my body so strange, and things happening, and I see things and I hear things, and I also went to a psychiatrist to say I'm crazy, and he said, you know, Anne, I think you're psychic. Nice psychiatrist, very nice one. You want to go to the next? That's the one where I took. These are enhanced because they were super black, and Gary Hesseltine has a lot better copy of this because I gave him the original card from my camera, so he could see that this is not any fake pictures. I haven't released these pictures because you know what people say, and yeah. The first one I took of myself, yeah, and that's the one with the golden. And here you see this being, but Gary could actually see like some hieroglyphs or something on a uniform, couldn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He enhanced the picture at the bottom where you can almost see a gray alien kind of a face in front of you. And his copy's better than yours because he's kind of enhanced the picture.
Yeah, because you have this guy with this almost no nose and big black eyes and this cape, and he had this uniform, and you see this gray at the bottom left as well with the black eyes. But that's a strange picture, and that freaked me out, of course. So that's not what I thought I would get on the camera. And you see the angle as well. If you see the angle of on the picture of the first picture of myself, and you see the angle of that one, that's so strange, really strange. Are there any pictures left? I'm not sure. No, it's done. Yeah, I have more pictures, but I don't know where they are. They're on the other computers and old cameras and stuff. I guess I have to see if I can find them. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. I know there's so much more, but you have been able to come with a whole timeline of your experiences, and it's amazing. And like I say, I've been at your place. I know how strange this place is, and I have no doubt. Terry, Ann's husband, he's taken at least, I think, 60, 70 videos of these UFOs he has online on the YouTube channel. Some of them are better than others, but there are some very, very good UFO, these glowing orb kind of things flying from the one side of the fjord to the other. And yeah, there's been happening a lot up there for sure.
Yeah.
Does it have any questions? Just write in the chat if you want to join and ask a question. I'll ask a question. did you get any peace after you had this regression with Mary Rodwell? Did it give you any kind of a peace of mind or anything? No?
No. I felt like they were blocking a lot of stuff. I haven't heard on it yet. I haven't listened to it yet. But I remember almost everything, and I know I wasn't deep enough. And this name they gave me, I know, but I don't know. I didn't get any answers on what I wanted to know. It was like they were blocking me. So, yeah.
Okay. Have you considered doing more regressions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's someone who's asked a question. I'm not quite sure who. Astrid would like to ask you a question. She'll just come on now. Okay?
Yeah.
Astrid? Astrid, will you remove your microphone thing and yeah?
Hello, Ann-Kristin. I would like to know, how do you cope with all that stuff on a daily basis, and have you ever considered moving?
A little louder, Astrid. Just a little louder if you can.
Okay. How do you cope on a daily basis with all that stuff you're going through, and have you ever considered moving?
Yeah. When it comes to moving, I don't think it helps, because I've lived several places and it has had its own portion of experiences. But of course, this energy here, it's a bit more dark. But we're working once or twice a week to try to clean the energy here. So I do a lot of energy work here because I love this place, and it's nice to be here. And I have dogs. I work with dogs now. I've done some education there, and I can feel they are grounding me, because I've never been grounded. I've been up there the whole time. And I see if I ground myself and don't accept so much from them, it's much easier. I saw something, you asked me how I cope, and that's how I do it. I ground myself a lot, and I do a lot of self-healing. And there is a guy in America called Wayne Brewer, who has had contact with the Arcturians, I think. He has written some books and stuff about the topic, and he has some excellent videos that I use a lot for cleaning the place, and I've helped other people with cleaning space as well with those videos. I just listen to them and concentrate on their house or whatever, and they have super duper help from that. So I use this a lot on us. I can feel it when it starts to build, and then we try to cleanse the place, because it used to create a lot of illness. It used to create a lot of arguing, neighbors, everything. But now it's so much better. So I'm trying to stick it out at least. I'll see.
But just so everyone knows, you also have pictures of the black helicopters I've seen.
Yeah, I had one here. I just thought, should I put one on? But yeah, I didn't.
But I know you have, because I've seen it. Rune would like to ask you a question. Rune can come on now. Rune?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can. Yes.
Oh, it's okay. Sorry. But do you feel like a victim, or do you feel like an experiencer? Can you tell?
I used to feel like an experiencer, But then I started to read a lot, and I talked to people, and they scared the shit out of me. And then I felt like a victim for a while, but now I've got it under control, I think. So now I feel more like an experiencer again, because it feels kind of natural. I know it sounds crazy, but it does. So now I'm in a good place. Yeah.
So can I ask again?
Yeah.
But you know, there's a saying, you know, we are shifting from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Is that not right? And then some says we are shifting from a 3D consciousness to a 5D consciousness. Do you think it can? There's something within you that have a multi-dimensional perception that's being triggered due to all this happening?
Yeah, because it's like I'm not. It's like I know stuff that is. Oh, this sounds so egotistical, but it's like people are reading stuff from books that are being implemented now for the new time, and that stuff I said for 20 years ago that the grace or my friends told me, and I feel like I'm some kind of a mission here, and at my regression, the one thing I remember that I think is true is that some of us are here to hold some kind of a frequency to make this happen. But I think there's a lot of people doing that. So it's not that it's just me. I think that lots of people doing that, and also doing other work to make this happen. Like you guys spreading stuff about UFOs and being experiencers yourself, and I think most people that are in the UFO field are doing a good job and raising the vibration. I think there's a lot of things we can do to do that. Just be kind to an animal, just be kind to a person, and you start to rise the vibration a little bit more every time you do things like that. I think that's the way to do it, actually, being nice. Do you think that's a good answer?
Okay, I think Ashley
Yes, yeah.
wants to ask you something, maybe?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
Yes, yes. I want to ask a little bit about your liver. Could you
Yeah.
tell me about it? I know that you said that you didn't understand one word of it, but because my liver is obviously very ill and it's getting worse. So I just wanted to ask you, how did you heal? How did your liver heal? And how do you know that your liver is like a person 13 or 14 years old, like you told us?
I believe from all the scars that it must have been changed, because when I took the blood sample, I was into this house party environment for a while and did a lot of ecstasy and stuff, and that broke my liver totally down, and it was so damaged. They actually sent me home to die. They couldn't do anything, and for me being cured after a couple of days, it must have happened. Something must have happened, and at the same time, when I had all these scars and I took these blood tests after that, they must have done something. So he said the blood samples that should be on 18 to 30 was as low as a 14-year-old girl then. Yeah, they have some age. I think they can they count these cells or whatever they do. I'm not sure what they do. ALAT or ASALAT or something they call these tests. And they can they say if you're between this and that age, and if you're a female or a male, you should have between this and that. And that's why it's from that the doctor said I was like a kid, had like a 14-year-old girl liver. And I didn't want to go more into it either. So
soon, here, next month, we're going to have Kristin Normann on, and he's going to be speaking about how people get healings from UFO experiences. So if you want to join us, you're welcome, and listen in and ask some questions, because you yourself, I think, has been healed by some of your UFO experiences, yes?
Absolutely.
And I spoke about shortly, I don't speak a lot about my own experiences, but I also had an experience with this golden globe in my kitchen. I've told you, I've shared this story with people, but also had this golden globe that kind of healed me. Just like you said, that your mood changed and you became instantly okay and stuff. It was kind of the same thing I experienced. So yeah. So if you want to join in when Kristin Normann's going to be on the 21st, I believe it is, of April, I will include you so you can perhaps share your story. Yes, Sunday the 21st.
That would be nice.
Yeah, okay. And we're also going to have Robert Salas on and his wife, Marilyn, who also was in Norway last time we were there. They're coming on the 7th. So, yeah.
Yeah, we tried the magnets with her as well in the cafeteria.
You did? With Marilyn?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, they stuck.
Okay. Yeah. They stuck on me and you also. So, yeah, strange stuff.
It's really odd. It is.
Okay, any other questions? Anyone want to ask anything? Just pop in and ask a question. Carsten or Kirsten, anyone?
Hello. I want to ask you, Ann, some questions. Because a lot of what you said tonight actually makes something connect with some of my experiences as well. I do though have some differences, but some of it makes sense to me what you're talking about. So it was a bit confusing though, but it makes sense. But I would like to ask you about your blood. You know, you were told saying that your blood percentage was very low. And the reason I ask is because my wife's blood is actually very, very low. She's about a 5 at this point, but she's doing very fine. How was how was you doing at the time when your blood was that low?
When it was down on 5, I started to feel a little bit tired. I was tired. But when it's on 6.5, I feel just fine. I don't know why it's like this, but at 5 I started to feel a little bit odd. But I had some bleedings, a lot of them in a very short time. So maybe that's why I didn't feel so good. But I still was walking my dogs and taking care of the horses, and it wasn't like I was bedridden or anything. because I know they will start a blood transfusion if you're below 6. So, but they didn't do that. So, but your wife is doing fine.
Yeah, she is. She's doing fine. She is. She's not. Yeah, she's feeling a bit tired, but not that much. You know. So.
No.
But otherwise, she's doing fine, and I actually guess that perhaps it has been like that for a long time. I think so. Yeah.
I think so, because I've been told I've been having very low blood count my whole life. So so I think that might be normal for some of us.
I also have a very low blood percentage, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it runs in my family, so you almost can't measure it. So I've heard that before with others who've had some strange experiences. So who knows? Who knows? If any, does anyone? Oh, sorry.
No problem.
No. I was just gonna say, if anyone has any more questions, I think someone does here. I can't read it. I'm sorry.
It's me again. It just sounds like there's a alternative medicine called Kräuterblut. It could be you guys could benefit from you drinking some Kräuterblut.
Yeah, but Ann's husband is a natural doctor.
Ah, okay.
So I think they have everything
they probably know it.
So he lives of being a natural doctor in Bergen and has many customers for all these alternative cures. So yeah.
Yeah, but I also take something that might be something similar to what you say. It's called Floradix. It's minerals and vitamins together, but it's blended with herbs. I don't know, is it the same?
I don't know either.
Sorry, I just saw some light outside of the window. No, okay, sorry.
But
I'm walking the shoreline here, so.
Yeah. But I could just, you know, recommend that everyone goes in, and I'll put a link on that so you can watch Terje's videos from the fjord, and Ann and Terje have been hosting UFO conferences for 8 years or something up in Bergen and up in Tromsø, outside Tromsø. Trondheim, sorry. Sorry, I always mix them up. And you know, they're very active in all of these different things that are very related. And so want to thank you very much for sharing your story and coming on here, being so open and honest with everyone. And not many people in Norway are very open about their experiences. And I know that when you were the first person who came out with your stories, got some attention, both good and bad attention, for what you're doing. But the truth is the truth, and you know, you pull through, and you're a strong woman standing forth. So well done.
Thank you so much for having me. It was very nice talking to you guys.
And we hope you will come and visit us in Denmark. I've spoken of this several times, so I hope you'll come down and say hello to us. And Terje also, come and see us.
I told Terje about it today, actually.
Okay, maybe this year then. Who knows?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully. I think he's going. He is actually going on a retreat now with Louis Fernando
Yeah.
Mostoyo. Yeah, he's coming to Norway now.
Yeah, but Terje was in which South American country? What's it called? The country he was in last year?
Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Yeah.
This was a kind of C5 event that Ann's husband Terje participated in with a well-known contactee from Bolivia. And he's now coming to Norway. When is he going to be there?
I'll ask Terje. Du, Terje, når kommer Mostoyo til Norge? In June 15th and 16th.
Okay.
I think there are some spots left. He always have ships appear. It's insane. They're going to this old monastery, I think, to the ruins of the monastery and doing some work there as well, some energy work. And they always make stuff happen. So that's really interesting.
Very. So perhaps who knows if someone from Denmark will come by and join in. But I hope that you guys will come and stay with us, and we're having Richard Dolan and Chris Orbeck and Tracy Gorbert here in July. So at the end of July. So perhaps you guys will join us there.
That would be nice, because that's when Terje is off work as well. So that would be super nice.
Just come and stay with me. But thank you very much for doing this, Ann, and say hello to Terje and the dogs, and take good care of each other.
Thanks for me. Yeah, Terje says hey.
Hi. So talk to you soon. Take good care, my friend.
Okay.
Bye-bye.